Johnson heads to the pocket. Layup. Johnson. Good.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers. Jonathan in the house. Marty's in the house. And I apologize already before we get going because I haven't been sleeping well. The image of Bugs Bunny, Bad Bunny, it's been in my head the whole time. And the boring Super Bowl and all of that. I've not been sleeping. I have been deprived of sleep because of that. Because I slept during the Super Bowl so damn much. It was unbelievable. It was such a boring everything. Everything was boring. The game itself was boring. 51 yards total offense by the New England Patriots in the first half. 51. That is the second worst of all time. Guess what the worst was? Last year, when Kansas City got 23 yards total offense in the first half. New England had 300 in the second half, so made it better to where it's 351. Sam Darnold, the winning quarterback, threw for a whopping 202 yards. Touchdown. And I like him. I'm glad he won. I met him last year. I got a picture with him on my phone. I'm not big on pictures or autographs or whatever. But I saw him at the one of the Super Bowl parties in New Orleans last year, and I told him, boy, I'd love for you to play with the Saints, because at that time he wouldn't sign. And I'd love for you to play for the Saints. So, but anyway, big difference. A year ago, he did not know where he was going to play. He goes to Seattle because their quarterback goes to Vegas, and he ends up being in the Super Bowl. And you know how it is. Writers and sports reporters want to give the MVP automatically, the Super Bowl MVP, to the quarterback. But he was so lackluster that they couldn't. How about 15 punts in the game? 7 for Seattle, 8 for New England. Wow. The only one, unbelievable. Kenneth Walker gets the MVP, deserved it, 135 yards in total rushing. Seattle was 4 of 16 on third down, and they still won. Usually when you're 4 of 16 on third down, you don't win the game. You don't win that game. But they did. It was absolutely unbelievable. The game, New England, Seattle wins their second Super Bowl. And what is it about every time Seattle's in, it's a boring game? Remember when they played the New York Giants? Boring game. It just goes on. On and on. They've been in so many boring games, it's not even funny. And I don't know. It's just I didn't feel like it was a Super Bowl this year. Boring pregame. I thought NBC didn't do anywhere near the job that Fox did last year, showcasing New Orleans. Even when they came out of the locker rooms, remember they had the wrought iron gates last year and had the fleur-de-lis on it, and they opened them up, and the teams came through that? It was just a boring walk with no signage anywhere. It was just boring. All of that was boring. The pregame festivities, boring. You had parties in San Francisco, and then everybody had to drive an hour and plus because of traffic all the way to Santa Clara. They had the tents there outside the stadium like they always do for the big ups. And they had concerts outside the stadium and all that stuff. To me, I just didn't enjoy it. Remember last year Fox was on Bourbon Street for the pregame show. Tom Brady threw a pass to Gronk from balcony to balcony across the diagonal. It didn't have that feel at all. I thought NBC just dropped the ball. And Fox takes that shot. I thought last year's pregame show was so much better. Boring Super Bowl week. I didn't hardly hear anything about the Super Bowl. Everybody I talked to said the same thing. Man, we got a game this Sunday. I forgot about that. Man, yeah, the Super Bowl's this week. I forgot, and it was on Friday. Also, talk shows are usually there, like Colin Cowherd. Now, I know the ESPN crew was there. And next year, they're going to really pump it up because ESPN and ABC is going to have it next year. But Colin Cowherd wasn't there. A couple of other Fox shows weren't there. And it was weird. It was just like it normally they have a bunch of shows go. I don't know if Colin went maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. But last year he was in New Orleans all the way to Friday. Or maybe even Saturday. But I just thought a boring week. You didn't hear anything about the Super Bowl. The press conferences, nothing. It was so weird. It was so boring. Horrible halftime show, of course. NFL used all the hype towards Bugs Bunny, and the ratings, he got 128 million. Now, again, that's how do you know that? They go by estimation. I know I didn't watch it. I had it on mute. I had it on mute last year too. No, I think I did listen a little bit to the Super Bowl because I was in New Orleans. So I don't know. I mean, what crowd is the NFL going for? They're not going for you and I, the older demo that actually pays for tickets. I don't know what they're going for. I have no idea what they're going. They're going for the young audience. Maybe they're not getting the young audience. Those young audiences don't pay. They don't buy stuff. They don't make your advertisers richer. I don't know. I can't tell you the last good Super Bowl halftime show I watched. And I've liked Prince. I've liked Michael Jackson. I've liked Lady Gaga, which I don't agree with half the things she does. And I think she's weird, but I thought she put on a great show from Houston. I really did. A bunch of them that put on a great show. It just seems like for the last 2 or 3 years, I haven't liked them. I don't listen to their music, so I'm like, okay, I guess I don't like it. I like the one from L.A. Wasn't bad with Snoop Dogg and all them, which is another thing. What is his fixation on Snoop Dogg? He does everything. Now he's doing the Olympics. He does this. He does that. I'm like, oh, that's what you want? A dope smoker? But somebody told me that he doesn't smoke dope anymore. I don't know. But, I mean, you got a thug like that around my son? Yeah, I want my son to grow up like that. Have your britches hanging down past your behind crack. That's how I want my son to raise. Yes, indeed. Can't understand a damn word he says. I don't know. What's wrong with this world today? All right, 128 million viewers. That's down from last year's. That's for the Super Bowl halftime show, which is 135. The commercials. Remember the commercials for Super Bowls used to be so damn good? They were horrible. Again, over and over and over for the last few years, and I read several forums on it, nobody's liked any of the commercials. The Budweiser always has a good commercial. They had the one with the eagle on the back of the horse's back. That was cool. Budweiser just puts a lot in their thing. It's always one that touches the heart. I thought the Lay's potato chip one was good. Ferris Bueller wasn't bad. Jonathan, do you remember what the Ferris Bueller was pushing?
No.
You see? Honda CRV. I mean, I didn't know what he was pushing. I just saw it was Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Right.
And I didn't even know what he was pushing. Like the Progressive and Gecko, they do these stupid commercials with the frog or a gecko, and they do these stupid commercials on all these Progressive and stuff. And why don't you talk about saving me money on insurance? That's what I want to see. I don't want to see some, emu going around and him doing that commercial. But anyway, I thought the Dunkin' Donuts commercial could have been great because it had Jennifer Aniston on it. Anytime anything got Jennifer Aniston on it. And it was a 90-star flashback. I thought that was okay, but it was lame. It was boring. What's wrong with this country? We haven't put out a good movie in forever. We don't put out good movies anymore. And the commercials that we've got are horrible. And last, and I'm going to go on the tangent on this, is a bad post-game show. And this was last year, the year before that, the year before that. So what happens is that whoever's doing it, the network that's doing it, has something on right behind it. It's usually a sitcom or an action show, and it's a show they're trying to promote. And they get the ratings from the Super Bowl and carry over to that show. This year, NBC decided to do it with the Olympics, and it worked. They had a large amount of people watching the Olympics right after the Super Bowl. And Lindsey Vonn obviously crashed, and her career is over, or at least for this year, but probably forever. I mean, no way she's going to come back at her age. But nobody thought she would do what she'd do. But anyway, the networks push it so much. So after the game, there's interviews here and there, but the trophy presentation is not for a while because they have to do so many commercials. And then they come back. Then they go to another commercial. Then they come back and finally do the trophy presentation. And by then, it's like, who played? Who played in the game? Last year, Terry Bradshaw really muffled it. It was bad. And I don't know. The Super Bowl 60 ratings are in 125 million, the second most watched, down from last year at 127. NBC, though, it was the most watched event. It was the most watched event of NBC sports history. And next year's Super Bowl being handed off to Los Angeles. It'll be in SoFi Stadium again. 2028 is going to Atlanta. That's when we're going to host the national championship. So it'll be the national championship, college football in New Orleans. Atlanta gets the Super Bowl just a month later. In 2029, word is they're going to do it in Vegas again. That's the inside word that Las Vegas will be the host for the 29 Super Bowl. 2030, no one knows yet. And New Orleans is trying to get 2031 because after that, we may not host another Super Bowl. My deal is you got to know Miami's coming into it. Miami wants to be the first city to get to 12 Super Bowls. New Orleans and Miami are tied at 11. You know that's got to be coming soon. Nashville's new stadium is going to be open. I'm sure they're going to try Nashville. Could it be 30 and New Orleans 31? I don't know. I kind of thought with it being so close that New Orleans wouldn't get the 2031 Super Bowl, had no chance to get it. But if they're giving it to Vegas that quick on, then there's a possibility it could be in New Orleans in 2031. They might have a better shot than I thought. But I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. All right, Jonathan, your thoughts on the Sorry Sap Super Bowl.
Yeah, Chris. Fortunately, I did get together with a few of my friends after a tough week. Had an infected tooth that had to get extracted last week. Bounced back for Sunday, though. Wiped off the anesthesia and antibiotics off my breath and went and watched a snooze fest, Chris. I mean, you go from the game. The reason you didn't really hear much about to the lead-up is there was no storylines. I mean, the biggest storyline of the game was Sam Darnold has played for like 7 different teams in the Jets twice before he won a bunch of games for the Vikings, and they said no thank you. Now he's here with the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl, but of course the story was their defense. They dominated New England. They had 0 points in the first half. Look, it was boring, but that played into Seattle's hands.
Yeah.
The reason that they didn't talk a lot about the matchup, Chris, is I believe New England was probably one of the worst teams to make a Super Bowl in the last 10 years. I read a stat that in all of their drives in the playoffs, I think it was 53 drives in the playoffs, they had 1.17 points per drive. Not very good. Not so good, in fact, that the winless 2017 Cleveland Browns, they averaged 1.22 points per drive in their winless season. So the proof was in the pudding all throughout the playoffs. They had a lot of lucky breaks. Bo Nix goes down second to last play before the AFC Championship. They play one of the easiest schedules in in NFL history. Most of the teams that they played and beat this year fired their coach. They're looking for a new leadership heading into the offseason. It was just a not very good football team that took on a very good defense and got destroyed during the Super Bowl. You mentioned the halftime show. Fortunately for me and my family, we didn't see any of it. I don't know anything about Bad Bunny besides what I learned 2 weeks ago. I didn't approve of what I heard. It didn't do enough investigative journalism to even know if it was true or not. I didn't know any of his music, so it was easy for me to take a break, get something to eat, check on the kids, go to the bathroom. I wasn't really over concerned with the halftime show. I heard the mainstream media loved it, so that'll tell you something right there. What we did get to witness this past weekend was the most inclusive Super Bowl there has ever been or televised in the history of this planet. Whichever way you lean or believe or support, it was definitely a different fan base inside the stadium than it was in New Orleans. I'll just say it that way.
Right.
The lead up to it, the parties around it, the talk shows. It was not the same Super Bowl as just 12 months ago that we held right here in the Big Easy. And honestly, Chris, I got off of the NFL for a while after that 2018 no call. It felt to me like it was rigged. And every year that passes, I just find myself less and less interested in the Super Bowl. This year, truly the biggest thing I'll take away from this NFL football season is that Drew Brees finally got his flowers to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right.
Besides that, Tyler Shuck had a good showing when he came in as a rookie. Kellen Moore did a pretty good job as his first year as a head coach for the New Orleans Saints. Outside of that, I have not got my blood pressure too high or too low about the NFL. The commercial, as you mentioned it, what's even rememberable anymore? They try to put so much production value, the AI value, the bringing back the old celebrities. I'm not really caught up in the entertainment part of that aspect of the game anymore. For me, the game was a snooze fest. No offense at all. Of course, offense sells tickets, and I feel sorry. I think it was the most expensive Super Bowl ticket to date, and truly, it was not worth it.
No.
I could have skipped the second half, to be honest. I didn't have to watch the second half to know that there was more bad football about to be played. But give credit to the Seattle's defense. I don't want to take away from Kenneth Walker because I do like him as a young back out of Michigan State. Very strong young man who runs the ball very hard. I thought he did deserve the MVP because maybe you know, Chris, has a field goal kicker ever won MVP of the Super Bowl before? Do you know the answer to that?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, so Seattle was going to do it for the first time ever because they made 5 field goals. But, I mean, come on. It was tough to watch. It was tough to pretend to be interested in. And, honestly, I don't know if this is a moving trend for me personally. My viewership, my fanship is just diminishing in the NFL. But I thought this was one of the hardest to watch Super Bowls that I can remember in my lifetime.
I agree. I enjoyed the Super Bowl, I had a chance to go to the bathroom, go get something to eat, do this and that. I had plenty of I loved the break at halftime. I did. I'm like you. I had the same thing. Since the no call, I told some people that the other day. Since the no call, I have not been as big of a fan. I used to watch football with the Saints, and then after the game and then Sunday night football, Monday night football, never Thursday. But I'd watch those. I watched Thursday for Thanksgiving. But I've not been a big NFL fan, too, since 2018, since the no call. But again, to me, I'm like you. More and more of these games are not meaning to me as much as I used to. I used to go and kick the neighbor's dog after something that would happen.
Chris, we used to go to the airport and wait for the Saints plane to get home to line up on Airline Highway just so we can wave to them. The game used to mean a lot to a lot of people, especially after Katrina. It meant so much to the city and the region. Unfortunately, the shine has worn off, and truly the product on the field is just not as good as it used to be. I don't know if it's the changing in the rules or how they want to minimize the collisions. I'm not sure. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but the product isn't as good, and viewership or the diehard fans, and they're still all over the place. I mean, look at Bills Mafia. I mean, those fans are in the middle of it. They're in a frenzy. They go out in the freezing cold.
Seattle.
Jump through tables. Seattle. But just for me personally, the shine has worn off a little bit for the NFL.
And, of course, the Saints are not doing well. Hopefully they'll get back to it. 5 years they've been out of the playoffs. 5 years. And it's so crazy. It's been so long. Remember where Drew Brees holding his little baby son.
Yeah.
Now he's going to play in a high school game in New Orleans. We'll talk more about that coming up. So it's been that long since the Saints have been in the Super Bowl. All right, when we come back, the state of LSU sports and men's basketball. That state is no state at all. It's pretty bad. We'll do that when we come back as we continue talking sports with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan in the house, Marty's in the house, back after this timeout right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouget today.
For a lot of people, going to the dentist brings anxiety. It can feel cold, rushed, even intimidating. We get it. That's why we built something different. We take the time, we listen, we know your name and your story because you're more than just a patient, you're family. You don't have to dread the dentist. You just need the right one. Call or visit FougetFamilyDentistry.com to schedule.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers. Talking about putting somebody to sleep. LSU men's basketball will do just that. It is horrific right now. There's no question about that. It's bad. We'll talk about that in just a second. Just announced that LSU made $223 million in sports revenue in 2025. But they spent $219.6 million. That's a surplus of $3.8 million. That's the third year in a row they've had a surplus. Not many schools can say that. LSU is one of them. They made $117.5 million in football, but spent $50.7 million, which means they had a profit of $66 million. That's Jonathan's salary every year. Pretty cool. LSU men's basketball is number 2. How in the world they're the number 2 and the only other one that makes a profit at LSU? How in the world? LSU men's basketball came in with $2.5 million made, and that's media rights alone. They brought in $6.8 million. But again, that's because of the March Madness and all that. They get a share of that, even though they haven't been in it since Jesus, wore sandals. LSU Lady Tiger basketball. You think that would be making a big profit. It's not. It's the biggest money drain, in fact, at LSU. $12 million spent, as $6 million of that went to salaries for coach staff. I'm about to say Beth Arena. All of her staff, Kim Mulkey and all of her staff, over $6.8 million were spent. That's a loss of $7.9 million they lost. They lost $7.9 million in women's basketball, despite them making the Elite Eight and losing to UCLA in the Elite Eight. LSU Tigers was the biggest drain of money for that, but the LSU baseball lost $921,000 as operating budgets went up. Listen to this. Last year, LSU spent $10.9 million on LSU baseball. Jonathan, take a guess of how much they spent it 3 years ago.
$3 million.
Close, $5.9 million. That's how quick, almost double the amount that from year when they won the college national championship 2 years ago, the World Series, $5.9 million.
Yeah.
To last season, $10.9 million. This world is just getting greedy, and greedy. LSU men's basketball team is the lowest of all lows as far as, I don't know anyone who watches LSU basketball. I just don't. It has not been relevant, again, forever. Not been relevant at all. It's just horrible. The last time they made the NCAA tournament was 2022. 2022. That'll be unbelievable. That's 4 years this year. And they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. 2022. The last time they made the second round was 21. The last time they made the Sweet 16 was 2019. And the last time they made the Elite Eight was the last year they made the Final Four was 2006. I thought John Brady was inconsistent. Have a good season and a bad season. Have a good season and a bad season. This takes a cake. LSU basketball is just so bad. It's just nobody can watch it. I watch highlights. That's it. I can't watch the full game. They're 2-9 in the SEC and 14-10 overall. And their numbers aren't real bad, as bad as their record would show. But a lot of this, too, is indication of what they did before SEC and before they had their big star gone. They make 81.5 points per ball game. They shoot 48% from the field. That's almost 50%. They shoot 32% from threes and 77% from the free throw line. You want to shoot over 70 anywhere you got. 75 is great. If you can do 75 on, you're good as a team because most college basketball teams don't shoot over 70%. 4 players average in double figures. Well, really, you could say 3 because one hadn't been there. Thomas has been out with a foot injury, and nobody knows when he's coming back. He's coming back. He's not coming back. He's coming back. Oh, he's cleared by the doctors. He's coming back. No. He's already acting like an NBA star. They're 12-1 with him and 2-9 without him. That's how big that point guard is. They blew a 15-point lead against the University of Georgia and lost to Arkansas this past Saturday. And they play at Tennessee this Saturday. Now, Tennessee is not that ranked opponent. They're still not a bad team. They're 6-4 in the SEC and 16-7 overall, but they're not ranked like they normally are. So, men's basketball right now, Jonathan, I don't know if you're hearing anything. Does anybody talk about it? At the water cooler, anything like that? It's just so bad.
Well, yeah, before we get into that, Chris, I'd like to just put out a warning. It is Mardi Gras season, Fat Tuesday right around the corner. Big Mardi Gras celebration happens in New Roads, Louisiana. But they just passed this law that if you're caught urinating in public this Mardi Gras season, you're going to be sentenced to go watch LSU men's basketball play every home game. You got to sit there and watch the whole thing. Not just the first half and a quarter where LSU's competing, but towards the end of the game, you can't leave early. You have to watch them blow it somehow.
I would run straight on into the cylinder brick wall.
Yeah, and
With my
truly,
head.
and look, everybody talks about Coach McMahon and how genuinely good, how good of a person he is, how good of a human being Coach McMahon is. Unfortunately, it has not worked out, and for LSU basketball fans out there, and there are plenty. This is a storied program. Some of the best players on the planet that ever played the game have played in purple and gold at the PMAC Assembly Center. And the poor Maravich family, like, when are you just going to change the name of that the Assembly Center? It's not living up to the product on the court is not living up to the brand. Who needs to get involved, in my opinion? Shaquille O'Neal needs to get directly involved, be some type of administrative position over the basketball team. Not to say that Coach McMahon's a bad coach, but it has not worked out, and that's okay. Coaches move on all the time. It is time to change the page. Just continuing on in this trend, this complacency trend, set your program further back each and every time they go out there and lose by double digits in the SEC. There is not a high school recruit out there right now that's thinking, man, I'm really itching to go to LSU, play for Coach McMahon in that great stadium with all that history on that great campus. It's not happening right now. So you're going to have to work the JUCO. You're going to have to work the portal as best as you can. Unfortunately, until you prove that you can put a winner on the court, it's going to be hard to get the boosters to want to pony up that money to get this 1, 2 guys, maybe 3 players in the season that's going to eat up all that cap space. But really, as we've seen, you got to win with 7, 8, 9 guys. The guys that have that experience have played together for years. And unfortunately for Coach McMahon, it just certainly has not worked out here in Baton Rouge.
No, it has not. And it's just, I've never met the guy. But I'm telling you, it's just not happening, and it's so boring. It's not even funny. I used to like, LSU's playing. LSU's playing, and I don't even do that anymore. I see the highlights, I see the stats, I do this and that, and I'm just it's horrible. And I'm tired of the excuses. I'm sick of the excuses. Well, this player got injured. Well, that player didn't come, or that player was ruled ineligible. I don't want to hear that anymore. I'm sick of that. The Kansases don't do that. The Dukes, even Alabama's, they don't do that. Alabama has taken over SEC basketball in a way. Arkansas's now, Calipari is saying that he's got several big offers from other schools, and he said no, he wants to stay at Arkansas. I don't know if that's true or not. Whatever. Who in the hell would want to stay at Fayetteville? But whatever. Anyway, that's the deal on that. But like I said, they're so bad. But in the PMAC, there will be a big game this weekend that legislators can't even find tickets for.
Yep.
And that's the number 6 LSU Tigers gearing up for a big game with number 3 South Carolina this Saturday. And get this, the game will be on ABC, okay, but it's a night game on ABC. Wow. They're going to put it at night, 7:30 p.m. at night on ABC. That's crazy. That is how big this game is drawn out. The South Carolina-Texas game was big. Obviously South Carolina won. Both of these teams have been killing opponents. They've been killing them. South Carolina beat the snot out of Tennessee this past week. Tennessee, got beat earlier by UConn. Tennessee's not that same program, obviously. But it's going to be a big game. What's going to happen? Game time again is set for ABC. ESPN has given LSU a 54% chance to win that game. I don't know how. We haven't won in 17 tries against Coach Staley. I mean, give it like it is. I mean, she's unbelievable. LSU is 22-3. South Carolina's 24-2. It should go down to the wire. Tickets are hard to come by. LSU did beat Texas in the PMAC back in January, 70-65, but then on the road over in Austin, they lost 77-64. So what kind of LSU team's going to show up? I don't know. Now, obviously, Fulwiley transferred to LSU from South Carolina. She's from Columbia, South Carolina. She said that she wanted to get away from her hometown to concentrate more on things. And, Jonathan, I'm seeing that more and more as a trend. A lot of today's athletes don't want to stay home anymore. They want to get out. You always look at a roster and say, a guy who's playing at Alabama, he's from Baton Rouge. Why didn't the hell he come here? Because they want to get away. They want to get away from their family. They just want to get away and what have you. And that's what she did. She actually grew up in Columbia, South Carolina. It's crazy. But she wanted to also go where she can make her play better as a point guard. And with that, she won the 2025 they don't call it 6-man because obviously you'd be bad, sexist. It's the 6-man, see, I was about to say it.
Yep.
The 6th Player of the Year award in 2025, which sounds stupid. They also won the national championship that year. LSU hasn't beaten South Carolina since 2012. That's 17 straight. Now, Dawn Staley took over in 2008, so she's been a big-time part of that. A big part of that, why they've taken over. Jonathan's getting almost to the point where I feel like LSU, Alabama football. Are we ever going to beat South Carolina again? This would be the best shot. And I think that I got a strange feeling I think this is Kim Mulkey's last year. I really do. She looks like she's wore out. She said that to her players at the beginning of the year. I don't know if she was trying to pull the heartstrings of them, but I just get more and more feeling that Kim Mulkey is really set to retire. Her daughter was sick this past year. We had to go back and forth from Baylor and all that stuff. I just got a feeling that she's getting close to the end. I don't know.
Man, on a somber note, you passed to JP, huh? Well,
yeah.
I certainly hope Coach Mulkey has at least a couple more seasons in her. It's such a pleasure to watch a rock star on the side of the court. She brings so much energy, so much life, so much just fandom to LSU women's basketball. It has changed the culture on campus. Despite what Coach Dawn Staley says, Nikki Fargas was not getting the job done. No. If she would have been successful, that place would have been packed just like it is for Coach Kim Mulkey. But it has been Coach Kim Mulkey that has brought in the players, that has changed the culture, that has really developed these young grinders that she coaches. And 17 in a row just tells you one thing, Chris. They're due for a win, right? It's going to be this weekend. They bounced back in a big win against Auburn. They made it look easy. They got to rest a lot of starters in preparation for this weekend right before Mardi Gras. So a lot of momentum. And, look, that crowd is going to be raucous. I'm not the only one in Baton Rouge that doesn't really care for Coach Dawn Staley. The PMAC is going to be packed with folks that think the exact same way, so it's going to be loud. And, yeah, to me, in my opinion, you know about Flaugier, you know about Michaela Williams, but Jada Richard, if she can have a good game and shoot the ball from the outside, I think LSU has what it takes, a deep enough team this year to compete with South Carolina in the second half, especially down low with the bigs. So I like LSU, Coach Kim Mulkey, to get it done this weekend and finally stop talking about that 17 in a row.
Well, I would love it, too. I would love it. I'm going to watch it for sure. There's no doubt I'll be watching the game. Cannot wait for it, period. The pageantry leading up to it, ESPN's Game Day is going to be there for the women's basketball will be there. They're already begging people to bring king cakes out there. But last time they were there for 2 years ago, they butchered a king cake right there on the air, which was stupid. People got upset by that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But it ought to be a great atmosphere. LSU and South Carolina this Saturday night on ABC. That is I'm not shocked that it's on ABC. You think you'd put it on, remember the Wide World of Sports, ABC, during the day? I thought they'd maybe put it during the day. But my brother said he's going to my brother and my sister-in-law are going to the Spanish Town Parade first, and then they're going to go to the game. I'm like, what do you mean? And I didn't know it was at night like that. That's crazy. And I'm hearing, he told me that just a few months ago, that I'm hearing that it's supposed to be actually pretty rainy on Saturday. It might be bad weather on Saturday. I don't know how that'll affect the game. I don't know. They have some people that are putting their tickets on StubHub or SeatGeek, whatever, and trying to get rid of their tickets that way and selling them for astronomical or asking for astronomical prices. I don't know. But anyway, all right, when we come back, we're going to be talking about the New Orleans Saints, a couple of things we've heard from the Saints or about the Saints. We'll do that when we come back as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers. Marty is in the house, also Jonathan in the house. Back in a moment right here on Pelican Sports TV.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton & Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton & Fouget today.
back, everybody, and we're talking sports right here with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan in the house, Marty's in the house, and Jonathan, man, I tell you, it's crazy when you think about it. You know, you do the Southern Coaches Show with me every other Wednesday, but we've done it 3 weeks in a row. It's crazy how this is the busiest time in college sports.
Yep.
With 11 sports at Southern going on, and you know, a bunch more in the other bigger universities who have like swimming and all that kind of good stuff. But isn't it kind of boring for this time of year, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's why LSU women's basketball is on against South Carolina on primetime ABC on Saturday night. I think that's a great point.
To me, it's just, I don't know. It's just like, okay, after the Super Bowl, what happens? Now, LSU baseball starting this week.
Yep.
That ought to be fun. They're going to have a big fan fest. I think it's, second year in a row they're doing that?
Yep.
They're going to be a big fan fest outside of the Alec Box Stadium in the parking lot and all that. That's great. We're going to talk more about LSU baseball here coming up as well. But, you know, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, in a way, to me, it just seems like, I mean, sports is now okay. And then we got a long way to go before we get to the NFL draft. Long way we'll go before a bunch of March Madness, the Final Four this year. You know where the Final Four is going to be?
Where?
Indianapolis. And I heard Indianapolis does a good job being such a smaller city. They do a good job of the Final Four. It's where the NCAA office is. In fact, they're going this year, and I think they're going to go back a couple more years from now to Indianapolis and that whatever stadium they call it now. But anyway, so that's where the Final Four is going to be. I always like to look at the setup for the Final Four. But let me ask you, would you go to the Final Four and you'd sit up in the nosebleed section, even for $25 a ticket?
No, I probably would not, Chris. That's a
either.
high climb to sit very high in the air on a steep incline. You have to use the bathroom, get something to eat. That's a long walk down a lot of stairs. That's a one beer maximum, right? Going up all those stairs up to the nosebleeds.
Right.
Anything more than that, you're asking for trouble.
Well, since you said, and you told me that, and I've told that story before, $17 for one beer, and they ask you for a tip, and there's nobody there?
Yeah, it's a kiosk. They ask you for an unofficial tip,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll give you one right now. I did that. So I ordered, I don't know what you had I ordered a Papa John's, and I ordered a wings. First of all, the wings are very small. Don't even get it. It's disgusting. It's like, I was like Fred Flintstone. I had it in one gulp. I was gone, or Homer Simpson, whatever, whoever. It was gone. It was ridiculous. $30 for a pizza, a large pizza, and wings. And so they wanted me to leave a tip. And I'm like, no, I'm going to get it myself. I'm not going to leave you a tip.
Right,
I'm going to get it myself.
Right.
And you paid $30 for a $5 pizza.
Yeah.
That's a big time markup. That's $25 markup per pizza. And I'm assuming they were, busy that day. I don't know. That's why I went and got it. I wasn't going to wait, till the end of the game to get the pizza. So anyway, I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. But that's what a lot of people I knew didn't do anything for the Super Bowl, didn't go to parties. I usually go to a couple of friends' parties or whatever. Last year I was with my brother and my sister. I didn't do anything this year. I stayed home by myself and watched it on my TV. And I'm like, because it's good, because I probably was snoring at some point in that game. But anyway, Derek Carr, speaking of the National Football League, may come back to the NFL. Now, it seems like there was a guy on here that said that when Derek Carr retired, don't be shocked if he ever comes back. Not knowing if he's going to come back yet. No word if he has surgery. No word if he's doing rehab on that shoulder. Nobody knows. Or it might not have been as bad as he come out to be. I don't know. But NFL Network says that he could come back. What does that mean for the Saints? He's not going to go back to the Saints. Trust me. He's not going to play for the Saints anymore. So all you all Saints fans can just rest easy. It ain't going to happen because I know you'd go nuts over that. But word is, so if he comes back to the NFL, the Saints obviously would have to trade him. And they would get some money back from that. So it's interesting to see. Derek Carr may come back to the NFL, and he may go back to the Raiders. How crazy would that be? Because Kubiak, who was the offensive coordinator here in his last year, Derek Carr's last year, is now the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. No word yet of Kubiak and him talked, but Carr has said that a couple of teams have called him about coming back to the National Football League. Again, don't know it's true. Jonathan, what are the odds he comes back to NFL football?
Well, I think, before any trade or trade talks happen with the Saints, he's going to have to pass a physical, and we don't know what the shape of his arm is. Yeah, he has kind of alluded with his brother on the podcast that he might come back and play one time. If you're asking what Saints fans would trade for Derek Carr, I think they trade you $30 pizza for him, Chris. I don't think it would take much to get him out the door. Believe it or not, Derek Carr did do the organization a big favor by taking a huge money cut. Say the Saints like $40 million salary cap to next year. So to me, all's well that ends well. They got Tyler Shuck. They got that guy. It didn't work with Derek Carr, but I'm not going to hate on the man. I thought he was a good guy. The one interaction I did have with him outside of a youth sports baseball game that his kids were playing at, it seemed normal enough. I didn't really understand all the hate that he got. I get that he wasn't, the Grand Marshal of Bacchus, and he wasn't, learning all the New Orleans rap songs. But he's just a different guy. Will he come back? In my opinion, I think he's done. I think he was done for the Saints. Then he had that arm injury. I think he tried to do his best for the organization. He's a very smart football player. Understands defenses, knows where the ball's supposed to go. But unfortunately, I don't think he's physically able to get that ball out as quick and as accurate as he used to.
No, I agree 100%. So, as you mentioned, Drew Brees is going to be the riding in the Bacchus Parade. NFL Hall of Fame just made it first-round ballot, first time ever in the Saints player. His son will also play football in New Orleans High School, and he'll be representing a high school in San Diego, and they'll play in the fall against the New Orleans high school. What high school will it be in New Orleans? Do you know?
I think it's Newman.
Oh, it is Newman. Yeah. That's right. Now that you say that, it is Newman. But, for me, it's crazy the way New Orleans people think. And so Drew Brees, obviously what made him happy was that Drew Brees was part of the city when he played here for the Saints. A lot of people didn't know that, but Drew Brees would stay here in the fall and go back to his home in San Diego. His kids would go to school in San Diego. Isn't that crazy? And right when he retired, he moved straight to San Diego. Didn't stay in New Orleans.
I think his wife's from out that way, isn't she?
And he loved it when he was there in San Diego.
Yeah, hey, happy wife, happy life.
That's right. He loved it in San Diego. He still live in that city. They live in that city today. That video you saw that they came up and presented him the Hall of Fame, Dan Faust, that was in San Diego, in the area of San Diego. But isn't it how weird that people love him to death? He's not like Archie Manning and stayed in New Orleans. He left. He basically told the city of New Orleans, "You're not good enough for me. I'm out. I'm going."
Chris.
Well, he did.
Hey.
He left.
Chris.
I mean, he didn't stay in New Orleans. For the guy who loves New Orleans so much, why did he stay?
Well, I can just tell you the state.
Now you sound like a politician.
I'll tell you the
to...
state of Metairie, Louisiana, right outside New Orleans, from my personal experience. Drew Brees has opened up multiple businesses. He's in walk-ons. He's at Smalls. He has Pickles and Pins is a cool little hangout spot for kids. They have birthdays. Adults, they have a bar too. But there's this place right in the same mini mall. Okay, it took over the old Chuck E. Cheese building, if you're familiar, on Veterans Highway. And that place is called Surge Entertainment by Drew Brees. But come to find out, Surge Entertainment is just paying Drew Brees NIL money to use his name, and it works like a charm. I mean, everybody goes in there. Anything that says Drew Brees on it or he's affiliated with it, of course, is going to do well. But I don't think he said y'all weren't good enough for him.
Well, why did he stay?
I think his wife wanted to be closer to her home roots back in California. Now, I'm not saying I don't know what I would do. I might. Brittany's amazing. I don't want to talk bad about him, but
I don't either. I love him to death. But I mean, isn't that weird?
I get what you're saying. Yeah, and especially
just like now, New Orleans people don't like outside announcers. They don't like outside announcers. If you're not born in the city of New Orleans, they don't love you. But they make exceptions. Drew Brees, Mike Hoss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know where they like and where they don't like, and why do you get to choose that? Isn't that right? She's from Cleveland, Ohio, by the way. I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, and now look, I've heard not to ever go to San Diego because the weather is gorgeous. You don't want to leave. Yeah. I heard that. But yeah, I mean, so they pick and choose who they love, and yet this guy doesn't live in New Orleans. They still love him to death. I mean, already the Dome is counting the days during this year. They're going to have a ceremony where they're going to honor him with his gold jacket.
Yeah.
And there'll be a ton of Saints fans up there in Ohio for the Hall
Yeah.
of Fame. I'm thinking of going. I don't know. Me and a bunch of friends might go.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just, and I don't hate on Brees at all.
Yeah.
I love him.
So
I'm just saying it's kind of weird how New Orleanians think.
Yeah. Well, in the same breath, someone that's actually doing it very right is Thomas Morstead. This guy's been living by Lucy's Bar downtown for the entirety of
what I'm
when he
saying.
came. And his kids still go to Metairie Cat. Well, I don't know if I should say that on the air, but in Metairie, Louisiana. We see him all the time at the city park. Now he's still like a regular dad, but he's in great shape still, really tall, built well. But Thomas Morstead, I can't say enough good things about that man. His spirit, the energy he brings to the city. I'm so happy he adopted us to be his home.
Yeah, no question about that. And this was his last year in the NFL, by the way. He's finally retiring. Clint Kubiak, new Raiders head coach. I didn't want him to leave when he left.
Me neither.
I did not want him to leave. I think he's a brilliant coach. I think he's going to be great for the Raiders. The only problem he's got the weirdest owner in all of sports, especially in the NFL. And Davis is like his dad, the old Davis. The older Davis, because the newer Davis knew about football. Al Davis knew more about football than any NFL owner, and that includes Jerry Jones. Jerry don't know about as much of football as he thinks he does. And the first thing that Clint Kubiak did was sit down with Max Crosby, who wants to get out of there, and sit down and have a cup of coffee with him before his press conference and said, buddy, I want you to stay. You're a Raider. You act like a Raider. I want you to stay. Because already teams are chomping at the bit to get him. He is that kind of a defensive end that when he comes after you, he's got such a long reach, you better have a good tackle because that guy's coming after you, depending on what side of the line he's on. So I don't know, but that's the first thing he did was went out to Max Crosby, not a quarterback, not a running back, nobody in the offense. He went to Max Crosby and said, look, I want you to stay here in Vegas. I want you to stay here in Las Vegas. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not. The Saints are going to give up a home game to play in Paris, France, in Montpellier. Now, according to Gail Benson, she's the one that pushed this, that they have a lot of big fan base because of ties to the city, Paris and New Orleans. So they have a big fan base there, and it's going to work great in New Orleans. It'll be the first game ever in Paris. I know a lot of NFL traditionalists, older people, do not like us playing overseas games. A lot of people think that one day the Super Bowl will be in London, England. What are your thoughts of playing overseas games right now as the Saints will make their way against an AFC team? We don't know who it's going to be, but it is official. The Saints will give up a home game. Now, with 17, they have 9 home games, sometimes 8 road games, and it's opposite the other time. I think this is the year they have the 9 home games. So with that, there'll still be 8 games at home. They're just giving that 9th game up and going to Paris, France.
Well, if there's going to be the first NFL game played in Paris, France, of course it had to be the New Orleans Saints, birthed right outside the French Quarter. A lot of ties not only to Fleur-de-Lis with the symbol, the logo, but like you mentioned, a lot of people overseas like to come to New Orleans. And, of course, they adopted the Saints as their NFL team because they don't have one. I hadn't seen the benefits of playing overseas until Charlie Smith banged some 57 yards for the Saints this past season straight out of Scotland. So I don't mind the overseas games. Of course, if I had a ton of money and a yacht, I'd probably just cruise over there and watch. But I'll watch it on TV. It's okay, Chris. I heard that Roger Goodell is trying to have 32 overseas games in a year. That's going to be the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
I think that is crazy.
That is.
All the travel and the money. Stuff is expensive enough. You don't have to send every single team overseas to go play in front of some Europeans, but that's just my opinion. I don't mind the Paris game. I do like how the Saints are involved. It kind of shows that they're building momentum to the positive. You don't really go send a stinker over there to put a bad product on the field. So hopefully the Saints will be competitive and it'll be a good event and spread some more. Hey, bring us all the French field goal kickers you have. They make 60 in the dome. We can make them all day try for the Saints.
Yeah, no question about that. No doubt about that. Tyler Shuck has been named the Rookie of the Year, not by the Associated Press, which makes the big award show, but by the Pepsi fans. Pepsi-Cola announced him as the Rookie of the Year, voted on by the fans. Congratulations, Tyler Shuck. He threw for 2,384 yards and 10 touchdowns in 11 games. I mean, he's going to have to be a household name for everybody to pronounce his name Because how in the hell you get Shuck out of Shough is beyond me. Not
Yeah.
even us here in Cajun land would do that.
Right, he has to go ahead and change the spelling of that name. He probably will once he makes the Pro Bowl or something, makes him sell more jerseys at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, fans voted him in. I tell you what, the mainstream media kind of pushed him towards the end, but Ted McMillan had a fantastic year for Carolina. He's going to be a superstar in the league. Hopefully, Tyler Shuck doesn't hit that sophomore slump. Continue to be the guy.
Yeah.
There's no more secrets. Teams will be game planning for Tyler Shuck. They know
Yep.
he does well, knows what he doesn't do well. So he just keep on improving each and every day and try to be consistent. That's the biggest thing as a young quarterback, to be consistent.
Right, and they get him more receivers. They need to get him more receivers this year. They need to get him off offensive line too, obviously. But he can run with the football, unlike what Carr did. So they need to get him an offensive line, no question about that. Everybody, though, wants an offensive line. It's like baseball wanting pitchers, starting pitchers. Everybody wants one. Everybody needs one. And nobody ever has enough starting pitchers in Major League Baseball or in college baseball. And nobody has enough offensive line in NFL football, or offensive line for that matter, as they have it, the transfer portals and what have you. All right, when we come back, speaking of baseball, we're going to talk about LSU baseball coming up next, kicking off this weekend. We'll do that when we come back, as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan, and Marty's in the house. Back in a moment right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as we continue talking sports with me, Chris Powers. LSU baseball returns this weekend. Cokie Riley, the Advocate reporter, says there's 5 keys for LSU winning this year, a national championship again. 1, how catcher is going to play. You know, I guess that's a big deal. As far as batting goes, you wish you had 2, pitch hitters, so you can have someone, designated hitter, so you can have someone to bat for the catcher, because usually catcher's not good in batting. You want him to be a good defensive catcher and one that can throw out people trying to steal first to second. So I don't know how big of a factor it's going to be. We're going to have a new catcher this year, though. We do know that.
Yep.
It will be a new catcher at that position.
Yep.
Power. For the first time since Jay Johnson's been here, looks like LSU doesn't have any power returning. And that's crazy. Nobody that may hit over 20 home runs. Millam, everybody knows him, shortstop. He had 10 last year. Jake Brown had 8. Curiel had 7. So nobody knows how many or who's going to hit the big home runs this year. I don't know. Could be a new transfer. There's a lot of transfers. A lot of bats are coming in. That could be interesting.
Yep.
That could be interesting. Health. This is crazy, and this is the new world of base. This is the new world of college athletics, Jonathan. This is the least amount of depth they have on their baseball team. If you're not starting, if you're a great player and you didn't go to the Major League Baseball, and you're a big star in high school, you're not coming to LSU unless you know you're going to start. And only LSU could give out a certain amount of NIL money, so they'll go somewhere else. That makes the Coastal Carolinas competitive again. That makes those kind of teams competitive. But right now, LSU does not have the depth they usually have. They did get a lot of transfers in, but no depth. And the 5th thing he said about is left-handed pitchers. This year they only have 2, in Cooper Williams and DJ. That's it. Your thoughts, Jonathan, on LSU baseball?
I'm really excited, Chris. I think they have a great shot to make it 3 out of the last 4 years. To answer your question, where they're expecting these home runs balls to come from, Zach York. Cade was a former player. Zach is the first baseman. They call him Big Papa because this man is every bit of 300 pounds. He's huge. They want to work on his defense, but he's really taking pride in that in the offseason. Of course, Seth Dardar is going to play second base. He had a home run off of Cade Anderson last year when he played for Kansas State. He's got some pop. Of course, Aaron Beatty. The new everyday catcher who you talked about. He's got a lot of power. In high school, he's one of the best power hitters in the country, not only as a catcher but overall. And then Omar Cerner, the young freshman backup catcher, he's also got a lot of pop. So it will be sprinkled in here and there. Of course, there isn't a Jared Jones on the roster this year, but Zach York could certainly turn into that big home run hitter that LSU is expecting. But pitching-wise, Coach Jay Johnson has talked about no less than 15 different guys that are going to throw meaningful innings for LSU this season from the right and from the left. They match up against anybody they want to. They have the arms to come out the bullpen, have specialists, have guys that can take you from the 6th and 7th. They have 3 different guys looking at to be the closer. So you figure the weekend rotation is going to be something along the lines of Coward or Evans or Schmidt, and you also got Caden New coming back. There's a lot of arms guys you haven't even heard of yet. They're going to make an impact on the bump for LSU. Jay Johnson, no doubt, we've been saying it for a couple of years now on this show, the best coach in college baseball. So I couldn't be more excited, Chris. I'm going to try to watch as many games as I possibly can on TV. Try to bring my sons to a couple of them in Baton Rouge because I would love to see Coach Jay Johnson do what no other baseball coach has done in the history of the game and win 3 out of 4 in college baseball. LSU, the cream of the crop, and truly, it's a wonder to me how each and every year he gets these guys through the MLB draft to come to LSU to grind and be better baseball players. And you mentioned it, they could go make more NIL somewhere else, but Jay Johnson's the best, and all my trust is in him and Nate Yeski. They've proven they absolutely know what they're doing, so I'm very excited about it, Chris.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can do, and especially with Tennessee not being a big factor this year at all either. Southern men's basketball team has won 5 of the last 6. That's good. They're peaking at the right time. Last year they didn't. They went opposite. They started out fast and ended up slow. So hopefully they do. They won 5 of the last 6. Lady Jags, I think, are a better basketball team this year than last year, and they won it all. Regular season, tournament title, and play-in game of the NCAA tournament. However, they've lost 3 in a row now. They've lost 3 in a row, and they're not the top of the conference right now. UAPB and Alcorn State are. NBA has suspended Isaiah Stewart for 7 games for the fight the other night. The Pistons forward/center left the bench to get in a fight with Charlotte. Hornets players got 4 games, and also Detroit's Duran got 2 games. Anybody watching the NBA? Yeah, 85% up now. Their ratings are up 85%. Speaking of NBA, LeBron James will miss the NBA not All-Stars, but the All-Pro team for the first time in 21 years because he will not get the 65 games this year because he has a hand injury, and he will be out for that. That's interesting. NBC making a comeback. Not only they had the football on, the NFL Super Bowl, they've got the Olympics like they always have on every 2 years, 2 with the winter, and then the next will be the Summer Olympics in L.A., but they've got Major League Baseball returning to NBC. They've got the NBA on NBC again now. PGA, Sunday Night Football is the #1 show, by the way, on all the programming. Sunday Night Football and Kentucky Derby and the Big Ten. By the way, 3 straight Big Ten champions in the college football. That'll do it for us this week. You're Talking Sports. We'll catch you next week right here on Pelican Sports TV.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson heads to the block.